What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Hook One Pod. A huge welcome back to the Hook One Pod. Feels really, really good to be back. We are here in the studio. Yes, the actual studio. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Hook One Pod. A huge welcome back to the Hook One Pod. Hey, our last episode was April 8th. We got busy with guiding. We got busy with everything else kind of going on. The shop got really busy. It got hard to coordinate guests, get this thing done, get this thing edited. So it was a really nice break. We were able to get really caught up at the bait shop. We had a super busy spring, but it feels really, really good to be back. We are here in the studio. Yes, the actual studio. So for those of you that don't know, the last 68 episodes were all recorded in the back room. Right alongside all of our shop. I got a room cleaned out. We've got an actual studio. I've got a lot still left to go. I got a lot more foam left to put up. I've got some new lights that I want to get put up in here, but this has been awesome. It's really nice to have a room where we can sit down, where we can, have guests in here, be comfortable, be away from everybody. It's nice and soundproof. The audio should be really good for you guys. We're kind of kicking this off as like a season 2. It's not really a season 2 because we're just going to keep it rolling. It's hilarious that the welcome back episode is episode 69. Sorry, my mind's in the gutter. As you can tell, it's just me here today. Basically, just a welcome back to what we've got coming up this year. We've been working really hard, even though we haven't been producing podcasts. We've been working really hard to connect with some people. Get some new guests for you lined up as we get rolling. Our plan is to roll this all the way through into next April. So we're going to do our absolute best, barring holidays or any major life events, to get you guys out an episode once a week, every Monday morning at 7 a.m. And like I said, yeah, we've got some new guests coming. We've got some new topics to talk about. We've got some new sponsors to talk about. We've got a lot going on. We've got to touch on the Derby a little bit. The Derby was super successful. We're actually going to dedicate an episode, hopefully next week, kind of talking about the Hook One Derby and what we had going on. We had a Dirty 30 weighed this year, 8 pounds, 8 ounces caught in May. So it lost a lot of its eggs, but still a true giant, really big fish caught vertical jig in the middle of the day. So that was super cool. We had a stretch there where we had probably 4 10-pound Atlantics come in within 3 days. Guys just constantly knocking each other off. That also happened around the middle of May. So some really good things. We got some really good analytics. Obviously, March seemed to be a much better start time than April. We had way more fish weighed in March this year than we did June of last year. So that'll probably all stay about the same March, April, May for the Derby. But that was really good. And then basically what's been going on at the shop. We've been growing. We've been putting a lot of stuff in the works at the store. We've been getting a lot more plastics, a lot more crankbaits, a lot more bass stuff. Kind of shaking out of some musky stuff, going harder into bass, panfish, stuff like that. So we've just got a lot to talk about, a lot to catch up on. Just wanted to welcome you guys back. This is going to be super fun. I'm really looking forward to the season. So basically, how have you guys been? Let us know in the comments. We missed you guys. We had a lot of people come in. Hey, when you coming back with the podcast? We were just super busy this spring. We had a lot of stuff going on, guiding, basically going every day. Along with the shop being the busiest it's probably ever been. And honestly, it's probably been one of the toughest seasons we've had in the last 3-4 years. I think the not having any ice fishing, not having the proper ice coverage on Lake Huron and Lake St. Clair really affected our migration of fish that came up through the river. Detroit River had a really good fishery again this year. Lake St. Clair's kind of doing its thing. Lake Erie always does its thing. Lake St. Clair is really, really growing for walleye fishing. We're starting to see a lot more walleyes pop up in the lake. They're starting to act a lot like lake fish the last year or so, instead of hanging out in the rivers a lot longer. The water temps have been right. The conditions have been right. The bait has been right. There's a ton of bait right now out on Lake St. Clair. The river, we still have bait. It just seems like we've got a lot of smaller bait. We've got a lot of the bug hatches were still good this year. The bug hatches were actually a little early this year. It seems like everything was a little early this year for us, about 2-3 weeks. So that's been super interesting to kind of follow along with. But how have you guys been? How did your season go? let us know in the comments below if you're watching us on YouTube. Obviously, if you're on, what is it, Spotify, Pocket Casts, Apple Podcasts, all that fun stuff. Jeez, took me a second to kind of remember what we were where we were streaming at. That's how long it's been. But let us know. Let us know how your season was. Did you notice anything different? Did you have a better season? You know, it seems like the people from shore and the whip fishermen have had a really, really good season. So maybe that's it. Maybe these fish have just been feeding at night. Maybe they're not eating as much during the day. I definitely noticed that personally. Whether we were jigging or pulling crawler harnesses, we'd be in areas where, you know, typically guys were crushing them, casting the night before, crushing them, whipping the night before. We'd go there the next morning. Totally different scenario. So I don't know, kind of frustrating for us as guys that fish during the day, but it is what it is. You gotta adjust. You know, we downsized our blades. We really slowed down as far as pulling crawler harnesses. We had really good success doing that. Jigging, we stayed tipping with minnows as long as we could, and then we switched over to tipping with night crawlers, which was really successful. Still successful this summer. You know, we were out yesterday, and yesterday was, what's today, the 14th? So yesterday was the 13th. We were out yesterday, and we filled a box of 12 walleyes, threw another 4 or 5 back that were short. A lot of shorts in the system, guys. That's very, very exciting for what's to come. I think the fishery is just going to continue to grow, but a lot of shorts in the system. We've been throwing a lot of fish back, which I don't mind. I actually don't mind that at all. Now, obviously, when people are coming into town and they're coming here to catch fish and they want to leave with a cooler full of fish, yeah, that gets frustrating throwing some back. But up until, you know, the last couple weeks, we've still been catching really good numbers of fish. It slowed down a little bit. It seems like it's coming back. The storm, the dirty water. Guys, don't be afraid of dirty water. I get a lot of phone calls, you know, hey, is the river mud from the storm? Is this going on? Is that? Don't be afraid of dirty water. Get out there, get fishing. We found fish in the middle of the day in 23 foot of water. We found some dirty water. We crushed them pulling worms through there. I think we got 10 within an hour and a half. So we were really happy with that as well. And it's basically the middle of July. So we gave you the Derby update. I've got my talking points listed over here. So we've gave you our Derby update, guys. The Derby went really well. We had over 230 participants this year. We weighed over 30 fish, walleye and salmon combined. And honestly, the weather this spring was kind of tough. It was very windy. It was very cold for the most part. So it's very hard to get those kids out. I think if we would have got more kids out, we would have got more participation. But at the end of the Derby, you guys did an awesome job. If you guys are watching, you had kids in the Derby, or if you want to get your kids in the Derby next year, that's what you got to do. You know, guys are even bringing in kids that maybe they didn't have a fish for the leaderboard, but they wanted to put one on the scale. They wanted to get a picture with it. So we made sure we got that taken care of, got a picture with them. You know, our sponsors were awesome this year for the Derby. Again, we'll touch on all that when we do our Derby episode, but the sponsors were awesome. We basically had enough stuff to give up to 3 to 5 free tackle items to each kid that joined the Derby. So each kid got to come in and basically get their tackle box started, whether it was plastics or crankbaits or spoons, all sorts of stuff. It was really cool to be able to help out. I know we've already got sponsors talking next year about wanting to do more for the kids, which is really good. You know, we had guys step up and we were able to give bigger prizes away to the adults. We gave away a ton of stuff this year. Next year, I really want to do a better job of keeping track of the dollar amount we gave away this year, because I mean, you're looking at probably, you know, we probably gave away somewhere in the range of $1,200 to $1,500 worth of stuff away, and that doesn't include the cash prizes for first through third. So, and we're only going to try and make it better next year. It's only going to be bigger. It's only going to be better next year. It gets better every year. You guys help out and participate. And it really is unbelievable to see all the participation that goes on for the Derby. So thank you guys again. Stay tuned. We'll have a Derby update. We've got so many episodes that we want to touch on. We've got so many guests that we want to get to this time around. We've been able to make a lot of connections and do that. We've just been really happy to see the support that, you know, the customers have given us and you guys have given us, and people out of town that find out about our podcasts and they go about it that way. Sorry, just checking to make sure everything's still recording right. You know, I get a little weary in the new spot here. I like it. I got to get some more foam up and stuff, but I really like what we're doing. And I'm, like I said, I'm just really excited. We're stoked to be back. So speaking of sponsors, and I know they're going to continue to grow for the Derby because the Derby is doing great things. You guys are going to notice we've got some stuff here. We've got some stuff sitting on the table. We've got some signs, some posters back here, some line hanging up right above my head. we decided this year to kind of go the traditional route and try and pick up some sponsors, not only to help us, but to help you guys as well. And it also gives us access to new guests for the show, new partners and stuff as we move forward. So we're super excited to be working with a few of these companies here. To name them in short, we've got Whitewater, we've got Great Lakes Anglers Co., we've got Papa's Pilar, and we've got Cortland Line. There's a reason I selected these 4 companies and the companies to work for. I didn't send out a bunch of emails to a bunch of people that we wanted to work with. The people that are supporting us are people that we directly support back. So Whitewater Fishing it's a Michigan-based apparel company. We sell their apparel here. We actually have our own Hook One St. Clair River style shirts. They look awesome. They've been going over great. We just got a huge restock of them. Whitewater Fishing was born on the Great Lakes. They started here in Michigan. And they're a tech apparel company. They make these really nice sun shirts. I got blood all over this one already because we've been putting it to work. But sun shirts, rain jackets, bibs, all that technical apparel, and we will dive deep into all this stuff as we move forward. But Whitewater is a Michigan-based company focused on conservation and helping anglers. So obviously that's people that we wanted to partner with. We want to continue to work towards conservation, and we want to continue to work towards bringing you guys quality products, but also at a great price. I mean, these tech shirts here with the Hook One and the St. Clair logo on the back, they're $40. As the industry continues to move, stuff's getting really expensive. We see it here in the bait shop. We're not stupid. So we want to keep everything, we want to keep the quality there, but we also want to keep the price points right. And so working with Whitewater has been really good. They're actually going to hook us up next week. I'll have it for you guys. But we'll actually have a code that if you guys want to go shop Whitewater products, if you want to get anything more than what we carry in the store, we'll be able to save you up to 25%. Whitewater will kind of be able to see where their listeners are coming from. But just being a Michigan-based company was super big for us, and it's really cool to see someone out of, I believe they're out of Muskegon, as where all their stuff comes from. So to see someone from the west side of the state doing stuff like this has been really, really cool. We've got some really cool guests lined up. We're going to touch on it later, but we've got ICAST coming up, so we're going to do a really big episode with those guys, with what went on at ICAST. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to make it this year, but it's all good. We've got a baby due here at the end of the month, beginning of August. So barring anything crazy, we're still going to be coming out with once a week. But I couldn't take the time to get down to ICAST this year. I got to focus on Mama and on the family, and we're super blessed. We're super excited to welcome baby Angelo here. And who knows, maybe he'll make a guest appearance here in a few months. But so Whitewater, we're super excited to be working with Whitewater. Another one you'll notice they're right here on the table. We've got Great Lakes Anglers Co. Great Lakes Anglers Co. coffee. It's fresh ground every day. So when you order it, it's not sitting here on the shelf like it is here. If you go online, you can order it. They fresh grind it, put it in a package, send it to you. A big reason we're working with them. 2 reasons. 1, I'm not a morning person. So getting up at 5 a.m. every single day is not easy. Thank you for good coffee. I drink a lot of coffee. It kind of keeps us rolling. So that was one thing, is I've been drinking their products since the release this spring. And it's been really good. But another thing is they're also big into conservation. Over 20% of anything you guys order goes right back to conservation and recreational sport fishing. So these guys are up around the Saginaw Bay area. Adam's the owner up there, but they're right up there in the Saginaw Bay area. They deal a lot more with the commercial fishery than we do. Around here, we don't have a lot of those commercial boats, but up there in Saginaw Bay, they're constantly fighting for their rights. They're constantly fighting against trawlers and trollers. And all those guys. So it's really cool to see a company that's going to take their profits and they're going to put their money where their mouth is. So 20% of anything that they earn goes right back into conservation, right back into sport fishing. I thought that was really cool. They actually gave us the code already. So if you head over to GreatLakesAnglerCo.com, you can actually use Hook110. You save 10% off any of your orders. I know they got a July 4th order going on right now, and they've got free shipping going on. Adam is actually a guide. He guides on the Detroit River and Saginaw Bay. He's actually talking about moving a little bit farther up into Lake Huron. We've got an episode scheduled with him talking more so about guiding, what it's been like. Guiding on Detroit River and Saginaw Bay, for anyone that understands, you guys know it's a very competitive market. There's a lot of guides. We're actually lucky where we are. I'm not complaining. There's not a whole lot of us around here on the St. Clair River, which is nice. But up there on Saginaw Bay and Detroit River are 2 of probably the most populated areas, I would say, in the entire state. The West Side Salmon Fishery is also very competitive, but for walleye fishing, especially Saginaw Bay and Detroit River. So we want to talk a lot about that with Adam. And then obviously as well, talk a little bit about what made him want to start a coffee business. Pretty cool. It's delicious. Like this one here, its character notes are stone fruit, floral, and citrus. Now I've had a lot of coffee. Black Rifle's really good. Folgers is really good. Maxwell House is really good. The main difference is you can really tell that this stuff is fresh brewed, and the flavors are pretty crazy. At first, it threw me off because I was like, I just like dark coffee. But the more I drink it, the more I got used to it. And I've been really happy with that. So we've been happy to partner with those guys moving forward. One that we're really excited to partner with. It's a little bit different. I don't even know if you've seen them around, guys, but if you haven't tried their product, these guys can get you buzzed. We decided to work with Papa's Pilar. So I wanted to work with those guys. I drink a lot of their rum when we're down in the Florida Keys, when we're down in Marathon or Isla Mirada, or we go down to visit Key West. It's distilled right there in Key West. But I really wanted to work with Papa's Pilar. It's Papa's Pilar, for those of you that don't know, it's essentially it's inspired by Ernest Hemingway. They called him Papa. I did a huge book report on Ernest Hemingway. He was an oh my goodness. Did a big book report on Ernest Hemingway. He was a world-renowned author, but he was also a huge sport fisherman. So back in college, this is a lame story, but back in college, I had to do a book report on an author for a English language arts class. And I was like, man, this guy's badass. This guy's catching marlin. He's going all over the world. He's going, from Key West, taking his boat down to Cuba, over to the Bahamas, chasing marlin, all sorts of sport fish and game fish. And I got obsessed with, following his life and what he did. He was an adventurer, went over to Africa, big game hunts. Super cool. If you guys actually like reading, you like his books, I really suggest checking out Ernest Hemingway. He's phenomenal. His nickname was Papa, and his boat was the Pilar. So that's where the name Papa's Pilar comes from. Guys, they are huge in conservation and fishing. This is one of those brands where it's a rum brand like any other rum, but they are supporting fishermen. They're supporting sport fishermen. They're supporting conservation. They're giving back to the communities. So it's been an honor to work with them. We've actually worked with them. We'll have a code coming to you guys. Unfortunately, here in Michigan, we're a controlled state, so you won't be able to order their stuff. But we're gonna have retailers. They'll be listed below, where you can actually find their rum. Support the people that support us. And the reason I'm saying that is they're doing good things in this industry where a lot of companies are just chasing money. So support conservation, support sport fishing, because you guys don't realize that when it's gone, if commercial fishing takes over, or we as sport fishermen start losing our rights, fishing becomes very tough. So that's not what we want to happen. So we'll be giving away bottles, I believe, once a month. For Papa's Pilar, so you'll have to tune in. Typically, the giveaways are in the middle or the end. We like to make sure that you guys are listening to the episode. Also, make sure you guys are subscribed. We're going to be doing giveaways with all these guys. We'll be talking about all their holiday sales and everything's coming up. Their summer sales and everything's coming up. So you're going to want to subscribe to the channel to see all this stuff coming up. Like I said, we're really looking forward to taking this thing to the next level, providing more content for you guys, not only via podcast, but on our YouTube. Doing more fishing, doing more talking. That's what I do. I talk and I fish, but I really don't like doing both of them at the same time. We've tried getting GoPros out there and taking cameras out there and recording, and I have a hard time focusing on the camera, focusing on the fishing. Maybe I got to be better at multitasking, but as much as fishing can be a job, fishing is also my getaway. So I really try and just get away from everything by going out there, putting the cameras down, putting the phone down. Maybe you'll see an Instagram story here or there, but it's not the same as going out there and doing a YouTube and trying to shoot something together. But we're looking at taking this thing, like I said, to the next level. So subscribing to the channel will be beneficial to you guys. So yeah, that's for Papa's Pilar. All this stuff, guys, every episode, we're going to have stuff going on from each of our sponsors. So don't you worry. We got you covered. I want to make sure you're taken care of. You take care of me, I take care of you. That's how she goes. And then the last one is Cortland Line. Cortland Line's a product I've actually been using for the last 5 years on my walleye, muskie, and sturgeon rods and bass rods. They make high quality fly and braided line. Now, obviously, we're not a fly shop. If you are a fly fisherman, you probably already know Cortland Line. They're very, very big over on that side. They do a very good job. And honestly, as far as their braided line goes, I think it's one of the best in the industry. Now we've sold a little bit of everything here. We've sold Power Pro, we've sold Suffolk, and everything like that. To be honest with you, I got started with Cortland Line right around COVID, just before, because it was getting really hard to get my hands on the products I liked, whether it was Power Pro or Suffolk, or anything like that. Those were the two that I used before. But Cortland Line is made in the USA. So we're not waiting for line to get shipped in. They're making it here in the USA. They're stocking the shelves. They're sending it out. So I used it for the last 4 years on guide trips, on all my guide rods, and I was super happy. It wasn't fading a ton. I wasn't dealing with much fraying. I wasn't dealing with much breaking, which the other ones I wasn't dealing with much fraying or breaking, just fading for the most part. But Cortland Line has really held its own. So when I started running into issues with trying to get line, especially here at the store, we ended up picking up Cortland Line, and it was a line that we ended up selling. Guys, our customers have loved it. The guys coming into the store, I've been super happy with it. It's just as good, if not better, than any of your major brands. If you ask me, it's better. It holds up really well. So we're really happy to have the guys from Cortland. They're from New York. But like I said, it's USA made braided line, which is hard to find, and especially a quality that they've got is really hard to find. So we're super happy to be working with those folks at Cortland Line. We're actually going to have we've got it lined up with their marketing manager over on this side of the territory here in Michigan. We're going to have him out fishing with us. We're going to have him here on the podcast. We're going to actually have him talking about ICAST as well, because we want to give you guys the inside seat at ICAST. I want to show you how truly amazing it is. I've been fascinated with it since I've been 14 years old. It is the largest fishing convention probably in the world, at least in the United States. China might. They got all the factories over there, so if they do something crazy. But ICAST is unbelievable. It's held down in Orlando, Florida at the Orange County Convention Center. I already had our trip booked. I had my flights booked. We had everything ready to go, but with what we've got going on around the house and with baby coming, it just didn't seem like a very good idea to take 3 days off and go down there. So we're going to have the inside scoop. Like I said, we're going to be talking with the Whitewater guys. We'll be talking with the Cortland Line guys, not only about their products, because, again, guys, I don't want you to get bored of what they sell, but also what's been going on around. Like, what other stuff did you guys see come out? We're going to do a whole episode based on ICAST, because I'm going to be following along very closely. I love following along. I love seeing all the new products, and then I love seeing all the new products. It's pretty crazy. You get a lot of redesigned items, but you also get some items that are brand new, never seen before. So if you're not following along, definitely make sure you're following along with ICAST. Definitely. If you want to nerd out like me, especially in the summer for all you walleye guys, when the fishing's getting slow, and you don't want to get out there and you still want to follow along with fishing. And the reason I put this in quotes is because it's not slow. I drove down to Algonac the other day, and there was one boat in the marine. No, there's 0 boats in the Marine City DNR launch, and there was one boat when I got down there to Algonac at 6:30 in the morning. So I don't know what's going on. I mean, I know life's busy with sports and graduation parties and camping and off-roading and basically whatever vacations, what everybody likes to do in the summer. Get out fishing. The fishing it's not been great, but it's not been bad by any means. You can go out there and you can really get a good number of fish. So yeah, let me take a deep breath. I'm not used to doing these alone. Benefit you guys as well. So stay tuned to every episode. We're going to have more coming with that as well. Let's see. Expectations for this year's podcast. That was a bullet note I had starred over there. And I was like, what's that star? To be honest with you guys, I kind of expect a lot. And it's easy for me to say it on here, because then it forces me to do it. You guys can hold me accountable. I have to hold myself accountable because it's out there. But I expect a lot this year. Like I said, working with our sponsors to be able to give you guys discount codes, to basically all of the sponsors, whether it's anywhere between 10 and 25% to save money. All of our giveaways we have planned this year. We have giveaways for myself. Hook One plans to give away a lot of stuff this year on the podcast. Whitewater plans to give away a lot of stuff on the podcast. Papa's Pilar plans to give away a lot of stuff on the podcast. I'm sure the other sponsors will too, but that was just something that, we were sitting down there talking, hey, how can I help you? How can you help me? They're like, well, what about doing giveaways? Absolutely. So the only way, I'll tell you right now, the only way you'll be able to win the giveaways is to be subscribed to the channel below. So as long as you're subscribed,
And it's going to be something simple. Message us your favorite fish to chase. What's your favorite technique to chase smallmouth? What's your favorite oddball fish to chase on Lake St. Clair? So basically, it'll be ways to put comments below, send us emails. There'll be super simple ways to enter the giveaways. I'm really excited to be giving away some rum. That's going to be a blast, as well as some of the new gear. So I'm excited for you guys to get some stuff from this. I'm excited to take the next step to start working with other companies, to get access to other people, to start interviewing, whether it's people that fish professionally in tournaments or people that have been in the industry for 20 plus years, or people that do things that are a little odd in this industry that maybe you guys might not think about, but that play a huge role in what we do. So definitely looking forward to getting new guests on, as well as old guests. We've got a lot of guests that have been on before that are looking forward to get back on. We've come a long way since the last time we talked. I mean, most of the guests are guests that we haven't talked to in probably close to a year now, just with the way that the schedules have laid out, as well as guests that you haven't heard at least for 3 months, because that's as far as we've been gone. So we're definitely going to get Captain Joe back. Joe needs to give us a Lake St. Clair report, because we've been spending a ton of time in the river still, even now in the middle of July. I'm spending time in the river chasing walleyes. So the lake has been good to us. We've been spending a lot of time out there. We've been casting some walleyes. That's been a blast. Need to dial that in a little bit better, because we've had some stinker days out there, but those fish can be finicky sometimes, as well as spending more time out there chasing smallmouth. And now sturgeon fishing opening up. When this episode drops, it'll be opening tomorrow, Tuesday, July 16th. The season is open. So we're really looking forward to that. We're looking forward to giving you guys more information, ways to help you guys cut the learning curve. We're looking forward to growing the podcast. We're looking forward to getting it out in front of more eyes and more ears, putting emphasis on YouTube, putting emphasis on sharing this with your friends. If you think this is useful information, which we know at least a few of you do, because you come into the store and tell us how much you enjoy it, sharing that information with your friends. Hey, check these guys out, because essentially what we want to do with this podcast, and that's my next talking point right here, is we want suggestions. We want to know what you guys want to hear. What do you want to hear us talk about? Do you want to hear more tips and tricks? Do you want to hear more stories? Do you want to hear more guides? Do you want to hear more professionals in the industry, whether it's, like I said, guys that work behind the scenes in the office for some of these companies, or, like we talked about, the professional fishermen, your tournament anglers, your guides and stuff like that. Do you want more tips and tricks? Me and Louie kind of backed off the tips and tricks because we thought it was getting a little boring and a little monotonous. And then what do you want to hear about? You guys want to hear, obviously we're talking about walleye fishing. So that's going to happen. Obviously we're going to talk about smallmouth fishing. That's going to continue to happen. We want to touch more on muskie fishing out there. We want to get more with the toothy critters. We're obviously going to talk much more about sturgeon fishing. We'd love to do an on-the-water podcast while we're sturgeon fishing, because you're basically just sitting there checking lines and waiting for fish to bite. So we'd love to do that. Do you guys want to see us travel more? Do you want to see us go visit more guests, go visit more places? Do you want us to get out of the studio and do them on the dock, which would be a real bummer after I got this whole thing set up. But do you want to see us on the dock? Do you want to see us traveling, like I said, more? We're finally starting to get our technology dialed in a little bit better, where we can take this thing on the road and do more shows more podcasts at the show. It's been one that I've been wanting to do for a while. Logistically, it's just very hard because we are so busy at the show, and we spend so much of that time making connections. But again, we've got a big show planned. I know that's not till January, but it's going to be here like that. I mean, guys, it's already the middle of July. Can you believe that? Our last podcast was recorded April 8th. It seems like an eternity ago, but it's like now it's already the middle of July. So time's flying. The show is going to be here before you know it. We're going to be in the booth with Mag's Custom Rods again this year, and Pat. We're going to get Pat on the show again. He's got some big updates. He's got some major rods coming out, some new bass rods, some more finesse fishing rods, some 7.6 medium lights have been going over really well for those guys over in Green Bay and Minnesota, casting those light baits and getting long casts on them. We're going to have Pat out here, as well as probably doing more events on the dock. So look forward to that on our YouTube as well. We had Anthony from Finn Sport Fishing out to do a really good sturgeon seminar a couple weeks ago. My biggest regret is not getting it on film. He did an awesome job. He spoke for over an hour about sturgeon fishing. And that's like by far my biggest regret. We were just so busy doing everything else, I didn't even think about it. So plan on us doing more seminars, more Q&As on the dock. and as well as those being filmed and put to our YouTube, because I realize a lot of you guys, hopefully, aren't from around here, because that means our range is growing. It means more of you guys are seeing this. So we'll be able to give you guys the information that we're putting out right here at the store. Again, when we started this bait shop, man, it was so much more than to be just a bait shop. That's why it's so fun to do these podcasts. It is enjoyable to go out there and do those charters, even though some days get tough. It's really fun to go out there and still be guiding, and now to be able to bring, the seminars and the Q&As. It's just the culture. We're so obsessed with the culture of fishing, and we can tell you guys are too. We see the comments. We hear you guys coming into the store, talking to us and doing all that. So again, we really appreciate it. We would not be doing this without your support. When we went away after season 1 and got busy with the guiding, there was actually a small part of me that was like, I don't know if we're going to get any more of these recorded or done until the fall, really, just because I wasn't sure what kind of interest there was in it. We were seeing a little bit of stagnant growth on YouTube and on that stuff, but there's just so much content to consume. That's most likely why. So we weren't sure we were going to do it, but we had so many people come into the store and so many people send us messages like, hey, where's the pod? Hey, where's the pod? Hey, bring back the pod. And honestly, you guys really rejuvenated me. Like, I'm ready to go. Like I said, we've got the guests lined up. We've got the sponsors lined up. We've got the viewers lined up. We're about to knock this one out of the park, and we're going to go as long as we physically can. If we can take it through guide season, I would love to not stop this thing for about 5 years, maybe take a 2-week break here and there, and just keep this thing rolling. So thank you guys so much. It really means the world to us here. Other than that, guys, we're just going to talk a little bit about iCast coming up. Again, keep an eye on iCast. You can follow them on any of your social medias. It's a page that you can actually follow, as well as all your favorite companies. All the major companies in the industry and a ton of small companies in the industry. Go to iCast. I get every day, I get invitations to go visit their booths, which it's just kind of the norm. It's just a big email. But it's unbelievable how many people are going to be there and how many booths that there's going to be. So keep an eye on iCast. We've got some really good stuff. Not we personally, but the fishing industry has some really good stuff coming out. Whitewater's got some really good stuff coming out. Cortland Line's got a new braided line coming out. I'm not going to spoil it for you guys, but just stay tuned. It's going to be awesome. And I think that's it. I've been saying a lot of ums lately, so I'm running out of things to say. We're about a half hour into this thing, which is about what I wanted this welcome back episode to be. And again, guys, I wanted this episode to give you an idea of what's coming up. Next week, we're going to have a guest in the studio, and we're getting right back to typical Hook One Pod fashion. But I just wanted to give you guys a heads up. I love being transparent. I really like being open with you guys. I don't like trying to, do things that have a lot of questions. What's this? What's that? Oh, we've been seeing this. What's this all about? That's what we've been up to. We've got a few companies we're going to be working with. We've got a lot of guests that we want to talk to. We've got a lot of places that we want to go. We've got a lot of new advice to give you guys. We've got a lot of new tips and tricks to give you guys because we've learned so much over the spring. Fishing every day will do that for you. It'll give you the freedom. And then whatever days we're not fishing, we're just taking it in at the bait shop, because even when it's blowing 40 and raining and maybe our charter gets canceled, somebody's out there fishing. You got to respect that. So, hey, that's all I've got for you guys. Stay tuned. Keep following along. Hit that subscribe button. You got to like, share, and subscribe. That'll continue to help us grow. That'll continue to help us get more information, more guests. Let us know below what you want to hear from us, what you want to see from us. Until then, guys, we will see you next time on the Hook One Pod. Adios.